What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. I'm saying it right now. I don't think the Clippers are a play-in tournament team. I think they are definitely a playoff team. I think they're going to find a way to get to the 6th seed and find a way to just secure a playoff spot. I mean, if you look at their schedule going forward, they have a favorable schedule going forward. And at the bare minimum, I personally think they should go 7-3 out of their next 10 games. Actually, they've already played 2 out of their 10 games, so they got 8 out of 10 left, and they're actually 2-0 right now going into those games. They got a game tonight against the Rockets. I expect them to beat them. Last game was pretty close. It was a nail biter, I would say. It was definitely an edgy game. They pulled it out 99-98. Zubac played really good, had about 5 or 6 blocks, I believe, had a double-double as well. I think he was one of the biggest reasons why they won, along with Reggie Jackson and the rest of the crew, everybody who chipped in. But when you look at this team, you just don't see a play-in tournament team the way they're playing right now. They came off the All-Star break, with the confidence that they can go out there and win. And they took care of the Lakers in their first test. They actually play the Lakers again, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday. So, that's definitely going to be another challenge for them once again. But it's definitely a challenge they can overcome. Definitely a challenge that I think that they can find themselves, winning. The Lakers right now are just a mess. But the Clippers right now are actually on the rise, even more so than what a lot of people are putting out there. They're playing very well. They're playing disciplined. They're playing like they understand the game of basketball, from a different perspective rather than a lot of other teams that you see play. They don't have their superstars. That's very evident, but they also don't lack confidence. And when you look at this team, they go on the floor just as confident as they were, or it seems like anyway, they go on the floor confident, almost like Kawhi and PG are there. Because even though they're on the sidelines, it's like they're there with them in spirit in regards to being on the floor, to allowing them to play, at a level that nobody would thought they'd be able to do without those 2 players. So having them on the sideline, coaching them, cheerleading, being there to watch them and, tell them things about the game that they don't understand as far as some of the young players on the Clippers, I think it's really helped a lot. And I think Ty Lue has really pushed this team, to be more than what a lot of people thought they could be, maybe even what they thought themselves could be. Because, you looked at this season, a lot of people really looked at it as a bust season because, Kawhi wasn't there the whole season. PG was for a portion. Then he flails out with an arm injury, and now he might be out possibly for the rest of the season. And, you thought the same thing about Kawhi Leonard, anyway. A lot of people, thought that because, Kawhi takes the time coming back from injuries, and especially this injury here, you got to take your time coming back from this injury as well. But from my hearings about the situation, Kawhi is definitely ramping it up as quickly as he can to, make a comeback, to try to come back as quickly as he can this year, because he said he did. I mean, he said that, in media day, of course, way back then that he wanted to, get to a point where he can come back this year and help his team out, So I believe Kawhi Leonard when he says that, I hold him at his word to that. He definitely wants to come back and help the team win. And, looking at this team now, man, if they just had Kawhi or PG, they would be a really, really tough out or a really, really tough contender to beat. If they just had one of them, I mean, if they had both of them, they definitely would be, championship contenders. I definitely think they would find a way to win it all if they had both of them, the way the team is playing as a unit, because like I said, these young guys have gained so much wisdom and experience, just being on the floor and understanding what it takes to win. And Ty Lue is just putting them in the right place and plugging the right pieces in, and that's all he's doing. And he's drawing up plays when they get stagnant or when they play confused basketball, when they're not playing the way they're supposed to. Ty Lue always seems to rally them and get them right back where they need to be and right back in the right mind state they need to be in to help them finish out games. And the one thing the last year or two, even before this year, the Clippers were not good was closing out games. And that was even with Kawhi and PG on the floor. They weren't good at closing out games. They left a lot of games wide open in the fourth quarter, and teams would come back and beat them sometime, and it would be questionable. Especially last year. Well, yeah, especially last year when that was happening a lot in some games, and the media decided to point that out a lot about the Clippers. But it's almost like now they've actually learned to, adjust to that and be better at that. Because it seems like now when it comes time for them to close out games and try to put a team away, they seem to always execute a very good play that can get them in contention of doing it. And the reason why I feel like a lot of their plays this year is being executed down the stretch, games that come down to the end, almost like that Houston game. That game came down to the bitter end because Ty Lue is not only teaching them how to play basketball when their backs are against the wall, and not only teaching them how to play basketball under pressure, but he's also teaching them how to execute. It's all about executing plays. And then on top of that, with the Clippers, you really don't know night to night where it's coming from. It could be Luke Kennard's night. It could be Terrence Mann. It could be Reggie Jackson. It could be Marcus Morris. So the fact that the Clippers have everybody kind of reeling when they play them because they don't understand or they don't know exactly who's going to be the leading scorer in that night, in that game that they're going in, it kind of gives the Clippers the advantage, the mental advantage over a lot of teams they're playing, because every other team, who the leading scorer is going to be. If you play the Bulls, it's going to be DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine. If you play the Philadelphia 76ers, it's going to be Joel Embiid or, James Harden or whatever the case may be. It's like every other team, where it's coming from. But the Clippers, you don't have an idea. And every single night, it seems like it's another guy that steps up. And I feel like that's helped them, close out games when they needed to this season. That's helped them make comebacks in games this season. That's helped them, play a lot better as a team. And that's helped them get a game over 500 where they are right now, which is very impressive. And tonight against the Houston Rockets, I think they'll win. So they'll be 2 games over 500 possibly, and keep the winning streak going and just kind of ride it out and see. But I definitely think what this team has done so far has been more than impressive. I think that they definitely can get to that 6th seed. They're only like about 3 or 4 games back of that. And like I said, Denver to me is a good team, but they're an average team to me. They just don't really have, I don't know, like without Jamal Murray, they really just don't seem like they're a really, really contending type team to me. Even with him, I'm not sure if they're really a contender type team, but they're a lot closer to that than they are without him. Even though Jokic is really good, but I just don't think he's the guy for the team. Me personally, I think Jamal Murray is the key to that team. I really think I think he is. That's just my personal opinion, but I think the Clippers can definitely catch them and get to that 6th seed. I mean, especially if they go within this 10 games, these next 8 out of 10 games that they've played, and go at least 7-3 bare minimum, and kind of just take it from there and see what happens. I think they could surpass the Timberwolves and, like I said, sneak in and get that 6th seed. I think they might have to play the Timberwolves again, so that'd be a big game if they do play them. But I definitely think the Clippers can, find a way just to get to that 6th seed and just make the playoffs, not even be in the play-in tournament or anything like that. I think the Clippers can find themselves out of that if they play the right way and play themselves into a good situation, which I believe they can. And their schedule is favorable right now, so if they could just take advantage of what they have, like I said, the next 10 games, go 7-3 bare minimum. Of course, if you can win all of them, that'd be great. But, I'm thinking 7-3, something like that, 8-2 in the next 10 games. That would be their goal. If they can do that, I'm pretty sure that would put them right where they want to be, and at least in contention of getting that 6th seed. And I think that's what Ty Lue is implementing to this team. And I think he's just collectively doing it because, he's trying to get them to, understand that if they're in a position to, make the playoffs rather than be in the play-in tournament, and it's like a 50-50 chance. From there, you got to fight your way from the play-in just to get in the playoffs. If they can avoid that, that'd be great. And I feel like that's what Ty Lue is definitely implementing to these guys, so they can understand that, getting into the playoffs is key, is important, and it's going to better their chances of putting themselves in position to do greater things. And I believe that's what's being told to the guys, and I believe that's something that they're living by right now, because right now the Clippers are playing really good, and a lot of people don't want to give them the credit. They want to show the Lakers the favoritism. That's fine, but at the same time, if this team actually happens to make that 6th seed and get into the playoffs without even going to a play-in tournament, they've got to give them their flowers even more so then, because they did it without two superstars, two of the best star players in the league. And that just goes to show, once they get them back, it's hell to pay for all the other teams in the West and whoever they might play in the finals if they, find a way to get there. So definitely, shout out to the Clippers for doing what they've been doing. Definitely got to give them their flowers as a team, and hopefully they can just keep it going. But hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.